on One Always There.
Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary.
Today on One, Health Minister has authority to lock down COVID-19 hotspots. Public Transport Association inspects permits. And law enforcement educates Walvis Bay children on safety.
At this week's 21st COVID-19 update at State House, Justice Minister Yvonne Tausab said the Minister of Health and Social Services can introduce lockdown measures and restrict movement from or into affected areas if the number of cases continue unabated. She also warned that those not complying with the mandatory regulations could be arrested and fined up to 100,000 Namibia dollars. Speaking at the public briefing and giving clarity on the revised measures aimed at suppressing the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, Yvonne Tausab said the Health Minister Kalumbi Shangula has the authority to restrict movement in areas regarded as hotspots such as the central and southern regions.
The Minister of Health and Social Services has broad powers that are provided for under Section 29 of the Public and Environmental Health Act. And under that Act, Your Excellency, the Minister can actually introduce, if in the next 14 days that we have introduced these new measures, there are indications that the cases are going up, the Minister may actually introduce measures such as, and I want to emphasize this, to indicate to people that they may not come into an affected area or they may not move around in that affected area. It is one of the powers that the Minister has. He also has the power to close down public entertainment places if it requires of us. If over the next 14 days we do get an indication that people are either not doing what they need to do in terms of health protocols, the Minister has the power to take additional measures to reduce the movement of people even.
The police have been directed to be out enforcing the law and ensuring that members of the public comply with safety protocols such as the wearing of face masks and social distancing, failure to which could lead up to a fine or imprisonment.
It is an offense not to comply with any of the measures that we have in place. We do understand that there is a little bit of confusion about the fact that previously there was a $2,000 fine, and because that $2,000 fine is not explicitly provided for in the health regulations, people have been under the mistaken impression that that does not apply anymore. It does apply. The only difference is that the law makes provision for any amount between $1 to 100,000, you can be fined. And the fining happens this way, Your Excellency. Once you are found to have not complied with the measures that have been put in place, you could be, of course, if you're not wearing a mask, the first thing that needs to be done is that you will be reminded to take out your mask from your pocket and wear it. If you insist in not wearing your mask, you could be arrested because we don't have spot fines. You could be arrested, and once you are arrested, the only way you will be released is either on warning or on bail. That doesn't mean that that is the fine. The fine is only determined in a court of law.
With many traveling for the festive season, Tausab urged people to keep extra masks at hand in the event that visitors are invited to one's home. Government has released a notice informing the public that the amended regulations have been gazetted into law.
You know what makes Christmas so special? It's that little extra. And at Spar, we have thousands of extras. We're granting thousands of Christmas wishes and giving thousands of our customers free shopping, plus thousands in Christmas savings. Like Spar margarine brick for only $15.69 and 2-liter liquid fruit for just $31.99. Spar, the home of 1,000 little extras this Christmas.
The Namibia Statistics Agency is busy with census mapping, a prephase for the main population and housing census to be conducted in 2021. Census mapping aims to demarcate the entire Namibia geographic frame to conduct census. To find out more, tune in to Conversations with the NSA, Saturday evening, the 26th of December as from 7 p.m. Play your part. Be counted.
Get ready for the big holiday price drop at OK Furniture from 24 December 2020. Hurry to your nearest store to get massive discounts on selected lounge, bedroom, bedding, dining room, audiovisual, appliances and more. Stocks are limited, price to go, and all deals are first come, first served. So take advantage of these huge savings in store. Save big with the big holiday price drop from 16 to 24 December 2020. Only at OK Furniture for the lowest prices guaranteed.
The Namibia Public Passenger Transport Association has entered into a joint operation with law enforcement to inspect permits of public transport vehicles at various roadblocks. Nathan Africa, the association's Secretary General who was stationed at the Windhoek-Okahanja roadblock, explains that the inspection was necessitated by the increase of undocumented medium to long distance public transport vehicles. This comes after the association petitioned the Transport Ministry for urgent intervention into the matter.
It's a problem for us in this industry that we have illegal operators taking the law into their own hands. We as legal operators on the road are currently having operation at the roadblocks jointly with law enforcement to record all operators, whether legal or illegal, even checking the roadworthiness of public transport vehicles, minibuses, and also recording whether the vehicle is transporting people illegally or legally. This information is then forwarded to law enforcement, and law enforcement decides to act. There is also this misconception that there has been permits issued for 7-seaters. But there are conditions on the permits that apply to these 7-seaters that are operating illegally. At this roadblock, we've also come across 7-seaters that have got permits between Windhoek between Walvis Bay and Swakopmund. They are allowed to operate with their permit conditions between Walvis Bay and Swakopmund, but in fact they are operating between Windhoek and Walvis Bay. So that is transgression of the permit conditions. We have also come across many 7-seaters that are operating without any permit, without any public driving permit, but there are also 7-seaters that have got legal permits. And those 7-seaters that have got legal permits to operate, we allow them to proceed.
Africa further urges those traveling this festive season to be on the lookout and not board any medium to long distance public transport vehicles that do not have the necessary documentation.
The problem is that law enforcement together with us are working on especially illegal operations. When we started the operation here at the roadblock last week, when the effective stipulation of the law was enforced here, even 7-seaters then resorted to other means by loading people onto taxis going to Okahanja and then coming past the roadblock with 1 or 2 passengers in and proceeding to Okahanja or along the road and then taking over the passengers from the Okahanja taxis and continuing their journey. These are the things that we say we don't want. When we talk about legal operators, you must have a permit to operate, you must have a permit to transport passengers. If you don't comply, even with minibuses, we also had the problem. We've got minibuses that are operating to the north, but they've got the permit only to operate within the municipal area of Windhoek. And that is also transgression of the law, and they've also been fined according to the law. So there's no thing that we are just concentrating on 7-seaters here. We are ensuring that our passengers that are boarding the public transport are being transported safely.
Santa's back with even more Christmas specials from MTC. Visit your nearest mobile home to unbox the connection with great deals on mobile phones and accessories now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Get your share of Santa's goodies from MTC and make this Christmas a connection to remember. MTC, make the connection.
It's time to sparkle at the Click Summer Beauty Fair. Buy any 3 Himalaya face washes, cheapest one free. Buy any 3 Hask hair care products, cheapest one free. Buy any 3 Nivea facial skincare products, cheapest one free. Make your Christmas magical this year with hundreds of the best 3-for-2 gifts. Buy any 3 gifts marked with our purple sticker, cheapest one free. Clicks. Feel good. Pay less.
The Erongo Law Enforcement Sports Association organized the Gender-Based Violence Awareness Day at Walvis Bay following the many reported GBV cases at the coast. ELESA is an organization consisting of the Namibian Air Force, Navy, Police, Correctional Service, Namibian Defence Force and Municipality Traffic Departments, amongst others, united in sports to create awareness to communities within the region.
In terms of the distribution of these cases, most of these crimes are happening in Kusabmu, where the grandfathers are raping their niece. Where every day people are opening cases of GBV. Kusabmu, Mondesa. 2020 up to November, we had a total of, we have a total of 360 cases of gender-based violence that are reported in our region. 312 gender-based violence and 48 are rape cases. What is disturbing is that we also have, when people report cases, withdrawals of these cases. In 2017, 12 cases of rape were withdrawn, and 111 cases of domestic violence or gender-based violence were withdrawn.
My peace is protected when I can walk down the street and not be whistled at or shouted at by the opposite sex. My peace is protected when I can live and be without fear that a man will encroach my dignity. My peace is protected when my boy child is properly educated. When perpetrators are not hidden. When people speak up. When we collectively act. When we don't wait for another statistic. When men in our societies can man up, when perpetrators are dealt with in all seriousness. My peace is protected when the fear that grips my heart is calmed. My peace is protected when my boy child is empowered. My peace is protected when our children are safe.
The increase of social ills in the country, especially at the coast, prompted the group to embark on an awareness campaign, especially amongst children. Around 200 children marched through the main road of Walvis Bay to a ceremony where they were addressed by various speakers from different fields.
The way we also speak to our wives in front of the children. This boy, that boy that is watching this, they think it's normal to do that. So what will happen when they grow up? They will do the same thing. The lady, the daughter, when they see how the father speaks to the mother, they also think it's normal for men to speak to me like that. It's normal for men to beat me. It's normal. But we need to break those things. And how do we break those things? We need to get accurate understanding of who we are, accurate understanding of our design, accurate understanding of how we should operate. That's why our society malfunctions. We are not working accurately as according to the design. How we will change it, I'm not pointing finger to anyone. How we will change this as a society. We should find the accurate design of God for our lives in every area. Marriage, finances, parenting, every area. There's a design of God for every area in our lives.
Break the silence. Know where and how you go about reporting some of these cases that I just mentioned. Don't be ashamed, because through shame comes a lot of harm. Like I said, you only have you to say. Like Tangeni said, it takes years for these wounds to heal, physically and emotionally. Speak to somebody you trust, a teacher at school, a family friend, your mother, your cousin. Tell someone about it.
The session included self-defense exercise for the young ones. The children were equipped with self-defense information booklets and whistles to use in case they ran into trouble.
The United Nations is marking its 75th anniversary at a time of great challenges, including the worst global health crisis in its history. The world needs solidarity, and your contribution counts. It only takes a minute to make a real difference. So, take 1 minute to complete the short survey you will find at un75.online. Add your voice, Namibia, and be heard. The future we want, the United Nations we need.
Ready, get the set, go. Team it up. Top to bottom. Why pay more than 80 for a kid's outfit? Take a selected cap, top and shorts and save a bundle. Get more in store this holiday. Life's better with Pep.
In other leading stories, the German embassy supports the women's shelter Friendly Haven in Windhoek with over 300,000 Namibia dollars from the embassy's micro-project fund. In these economically challenging times, the operating of the shelter has become more difficult to such an extent that necessary repairs and the planned purchase of a solar system had to be postponed. The funds will now be used for these long overdue plans. Renovation and repairs of sanitary installations will also be carried out. The installation of a solar system and a gas stove will help reduce the electricity bill substantially and ease the financial burden of utility costs. The freed up finances can eventually be used to run the shelter more smoothly and create a more conducive environment for the affected women seeking help. The shelter will also receive food and sanitary items. The German ambassador Herbert Beck visited the shelter and emphasized the support towards women's rights projects through the German government. Since its inception, the Friendly Haven shelter accommodated close to 1,500 abused women and children and has worked tirelessly to raise awareness on gender-based violence in Namibia.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages.
Cleaners and kitchen staff at the Karatura Hospital are disgruntled over unpaid overtime. They have accused the supervisor of lack of innovation and willingness to sign their papers in order for their money to be released. Fikameni says they have done their job and should be paid. Joe says it's Christmas time, noting that such behavior is unacceptable. Renatus noted that it is always people on the receiving end that gets treated unfairly. Louise, however, is saying that the hospital is dirty and that the cleaners should clean it properly.
And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on to DN1.
Get ready for the big holiday price drop at OK Furniture from 16 to 24 December 2020. Hurry to your nearest store to get massive discounts on selected lounge, bedroom, bedding, dining room, audiovisual, appliances and more. Stocks are limited, price to go, and all deals are first come, first served. So take advantage of these huge savings in store. Save big with the big holiday price drop from 16 to 24 December 2020. Only at OK Furniture for the lowest prices guaranteed.
My name is Liesel. I'm a medical officer in the anesthesiology department. I know friends and family who are vulnerable to the coronavirus. Some are pregnant, some have young children at home, others are elderly or suffer from autoimmune diseases or take steroid treatment. I want to protect them. Together, we can protect them. Please stay at home for us.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Heavy rain with possible flooding is expected in places over the northeast, east and southeastern regions on Sunday and Monday, so please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and hot to very hot, but cool to warm in the Zambezi region, with a few isolated thunder showers in the north and east, but scattered to widespread thunder showers in the Zambezi region at places. The coast partly cloudy and cool to warm with fog patches in the morning, and the wind moderate northwesterly to southwesterly.
The coronavirus that causes COVID-19 has changed since the pandemic started. So does this mean the virus has become more dangerous? Scientists have discovered thousands of mutations to the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. Most mutations only lead to small changes, but scientists believe one, called D614G, may have made it easier for the virus to infect human cells. This mutation most likely emerged after the initial outbreak in China, and it spread fast after the virus arrived in Europe. By the end of June, the D614G mutation was found in almost all samples of the virus worldwide. Scientists believe this is due to amino acid changes in the virus's spike proteins, improving its ability to infect human cells. Some studies have found more spikes on viruses with this mutation. These spikes latch onto receptors on the surface of our cells. They then transfer the virus's genetic material, called RNA, inside. Being inside the host cell allows the virus to make many copies of itself. Random errors sometimes happen in the copying process, which cause mutations. Although the full effects of D614G are still unclear, some studies suggest that the mutated virus might be more transmissible than the original. This could mean more people getting sick and at a faster rate. Despite this, there isn't any evidence that the disease itself has become more severe. Scientists are worried about mutations possibly increasing the risk of reinfection. Hong Kong reported what could be the first case of virus reinfection on the 24th of August. A healthy man in his 30s is thought to have caught the virus again 4.5 months after he first got sick. During this time, mutations developed and new variants of the virus emerged. Some experts believe these changes may have made reinfections more likely. Mutations are common over the course of a pandemic. New flu vaccines are needed every winter to keep up with genetic changes to the flu virus. If a coronavirus vaccine is found, it could require regular booster jabs. Mutations won't happen overnight, and the coronavirus is mutating slower than the flu virus. But it's important for scientists to keep a close eye on how the virus changes over time. Could we be hearing more about other mutations in the future?
The mighty Zambezi River, the longest east-flowing river in Africa, a river that flows through 6 countries, home to a plethora of wild species of fauna and flora, a lifeline for many people whose livelihoods are dependent on the abundance the river brings. Globally, communities who live along rivers rely on these rivers to survive. Communities living along the Zambezi call it the river of life, bringing water for their crops and fish as their main protein source. In Namibia, a country situated in sub-Saharan Africa, the Zambezi River sits at the heart of Kaza, the Kavango-Zambezi Trans-Frontier Conservation Area, which is one of the greatest conservation areas on Earth, a stronghold for very many of our most iconic wildlife. I'm right now where the river forms the border between Namibia and Zambia. This enormous water body provides sustenance to a wide array of wildlife, bird and fish species. It's also a lifeline for human beings.
The same communities are the people also who are doing the illegal activities.
The price of fishing has gone up because fish has become scarce. The more they finish us, the more our life gets harder and harder.
These days, it is very rare to get a big bream unless in those protected areas.
A small group of community members, together with non-governmental organizations like Namibia Nature Foundation, are fighting back.
We have to start thinking out of the box, to be honest, because what's going to happen is going to be out of this box that we haven't seen before.
By creating protected areas, monitoring and patrolling, fish stocks have a chance at recovery. These are the stories of the people fighting for the continued existence of their communities. These are the last defenders.
Struggling with no food, no what. But we didn't stop. If I don't do it, our young children, they'll never know the fish.
BBC World News.